Hey everyone, welcome to STYLISA, my YouTube channel where it's not just about sustainably styling your wardrobe, it's about sustainably styling your life for success, independence and impact. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm delighted to have you join me. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate you all. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that has made a huge impact in my life, and that's discipline. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about discipline insofar as how it can help you to live a more sustainable life and how it has helped me to take control of my finances and build habits that have stayed with me until present day. So let's get into it. So let's rewind a little bit. Over a decade ago, I, like many people, unfortunately, was in debt, and this was for a number of reasons. I had an overdraft, I had a few personal loans, I had credit cards, and at times, if I'm being completely honest, I was probably spending more than I earned. And this just snowballed, and I found myself in a situation where I owed banks and other organisations money. And I did that thing that many of us have done, which I know was wrong. I kind of buried my head in the sand for a little while and I just didn't deal with it, which kind of made the situation even worse. The game-changing moment came when I moved to a different city in 2010 for a new job, a new exciting career opportunity. And I still had this debt and it was kind of weighing on my mind. So I gave myself a year to kind of really get into the flow of the new career I was pursuing, the new job I had. And then at the end of 2011, I decided that I was going to give myself a year to pay my debts off. Now, to be completely transparent, my debts were around £25,000. I can't remember the exact amount because it was a long time ago, but it was around the £25,000 mark. Now, I know to some people that might not be a lot of money, but for me, it was a massive amount of money. And to be honest, I just got fed up of having this debt hanging over me. I'd moved to a new city, I started a new job, I was building a new life for myself, and I just really wanted to be debt-free, and I wanted to be free of the stress that comes with debt. So I decided to give myself 12 months to pay that debt off, which when I think about it now is probably quite a Herculean task, but I did it. So come the beginning of 2012, I contacted all of the organisations that I owed money to. Some of them were not as much as I thought they were, so I was able to pay those off quite quickly. And for the bigger ones, I rang those organisations. I arranged for the interest to be paused so I could get the amounts paid off. Not all of the organisations wanted to pause the interest, which was fair enough. But yeah, I arranged for the most part for the interest to be paused, and so I could pay all that off. So what I did was I set aside a percentage of my salary every month to clear these debts. And what I also decided to do was to put some other processes in place to help me manage my finances, because before this actual moment, I was pretty terrible with money, as I'm sure you probably guessed from what I've just said. So what I did was I invested in 2 notebooks. One of them was a little red cash book. And what I use this for, this isn't the exact cash book, I think I've probably thrown them away now, but what I did was I used this cash book to note down all of my everyday spending, regardless of what it was, regardless of the amount. So if I bought lunch, if I went out for a few drinks after work, or if I paid something, everything went in this cash book. And then what I also did alongside this cash book was I set up a spreadsheet for myself, a really basic one, which I still use to this day. And from that cash book, I would note everything down in my spreadsheet. And like I say, I would log absolutely everything. And this was a practice that I got into every single day. Now, I'm not going to lie, it was not fun. It was quite boring at first. I'm not naturally a figures person, I'm more of a creative person. And I'll be honest, I didn't really enjoy it, but it was really, really important for me to kind of build up the discipline to do this every day, because I knew it was going to help me get to a better place with my finances. Another book that I invested in is this little red book, and this is actually the original book. So in this book, I have noted down all of my debts. When I made the decision to become debt-free, I made a list of all the debts, and in here are all of the notes that I made when I rang all of the organisations that I owed money to. I'm not going to show it to screen because obviously it's got personal information in there, but this is the book that I used, and I keep this book and I still use it to this day to log down monthly outgoings for my personal life and for my business life. And I keep it as well as a reminder of how far I've come and the progress that I've made. And I look back at it every once in a while and think, oh, okay, you've done okay there, Lisa. So yeah, I invested in 2 books, a little cash book like this one, and this book where I logged everything that I owed. I logged all the conversations that I had with the organisations that I owed money to. And yeah, I kind of just went from there, armed with my spreadsheet. I would log everything every single day. And then eventually, come the end of 2012, I actually managed to pay off all that debt by the 28th of November 2012. And needless to say, that was a very, very exciting day for me. Fast forward to present day. I've been debt-free for well over a decade. And not only that, I've built up some really, really good practices and processes in terms of managing my finances. And that's where the discipline came in. Now, I wouldn't say that I have always been as disciplined as I am. I'm hardworking, I've got a great work ethic, but I have been definitely guilty of being a little bit lazy in the discipline area. So this was an opportunity for me to get really, really disciplined and really, really fix my finances. And I can honestly say it is one of the best things that I've ever done. By the time I'd cleared my debts and paid everything off, the stress that had just lifted from my shoulders was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So it is definitely something that I don't regret doing. I still wake up now and get excited about the fact that I am debt free. I really, really love the fact that I don't need to worry about money in that way anymore. I've definitely come close to being in my overdraft a couple of times, but on the whole, I have stayed completely debt-free. I think I did go into my overdraft once by about 23 pence, but other than that, I have been completely debt-free pretty much since 2012. And yes, it has been an incredibly difficult journey, but it's been an incredibly enlightening and enriching journey where I have learned a great deal. I've got myself an accountant. I met a fantastic financial advisor who has really helped me with my personal finances in terms of my pensions. I started investing a few years ago. So yeah, I've really come a long way in the past 10, 12 years. So it definitely can be done, but discipline has definitely played a key role in fixing those finances. And as well, these little red books, I couldn't have done it without them. So yes, that has been an incredible experience. I do have some notes, so I do need to look down because this is quite a long one for me. I can confidently say that this has just been transformational for my life. It has made such a huge difference to me. And like I say, I think the biggest area is the stress, is the alleviation of stress. I can't stress enough how worrying it can be when you're in debt and you don't necessarily have the money to pay those debts back. So to get to a place, to have worked really hard to get to a place where I'm no longer in debt has just been a fantastic, fantastic thing for me, and I cannot recommend it enough. But it all started with discipline. I continue to be disciplined, so I continue to make notes every day, whereas I don't have a little red cash book anymore. I put notes in my phone as to when I go out. If I spend something, I make sure I log it on my phone, and then as soon as I get home, I log it on my little spreadsheet. I review my spreadsheet once a week, and then I review it again at the end of the month to see how much I've spent, see how much I've brought in, how much I've made, and how much money I've spent. So it's a process that I continue to this day and will continue into the future. And in terms of time allocation, I allocate probably about 5 or 10 minutes every day to my finances. Now that might sound a bit much, but trust me, it pays dividends in the long run. Like I say, the biggest factor for me is the fact that A, I am no longer in debt, and B, I no longer have the stress or the worry about being in debt. So discipline is the way forward. It is not the sexiest thing in the world, but is definitely one of the most transformational. Just do it. So I know what you're probably thinking when you hear the word discipline. It's boring, it's about restriction, it's about punishment, but it really, really isn't, and I cannot stress this enough. For me, discipline is about freedom. It's about actually doing the things that I need to do today in order to have a better tomorrow, and that is not possible without discipline. That is not possible without waking up every single day and being intentional about the things that you want to achieve. I honestly can't stress it enough. I know it is not the sexiest subject in the world, but like I said a few minutes ago, it really is transformational. And just think about the freedom you have when you put those processes in place and you're disciplined enough to follow them. It gives you so much freedom. I know that's what it's done for me, and I know it can do the same for you. So don't roll your eyes when you hear that word mentioned. Embrace it and really get into it, and trust me, it will pay absolute dividends for you, as it has done for me. I've developed habits like budgeting, tracking my finances, saving and investing. These are things that I do not because I have to, but because they give me peace of mind and they help me stay on track when it comes to achieving my goals. And like I said, None of this is possible without discipline. And yes, I know I keep saying it, it isn't the sexiest subject in the world, but it really can transform your life. It's done wonders for me. So how does this all tie into sustainability? Well, I think the first thing to say is that sustainability is not just about the environment. It's about the creation of a life that is financially, emotionally, and physically sustainable. Discipline is that thing that helps you build habits that stick, whether it's saving more, spending less, or even making more sustainable choices when it comes to your wardrobe. For me, it really started with small changes. Instead of going out and buying something new every time I wanted a pick-me-up, I found joy in other things. Things that were free of charge, like going for walks, going to galleries. Instead of letting my budget slide because it was inconvenient, I made it a non-negotiable part of my everyday routine. And eventually, those disciplined little actions added up to very, very big and positive results. So, what are some of my top tips for building discipline? The first thing I would say is to start small. One of the mistakes that I used to make was I would try to do everything all at once, and I try to do it in a really big way. But actually, when I decided to just start with my finances and start monitoring and managing my spending and getting myself out of debt, I started with very, very small steps. Like I say, I firstly started by making a list of everything I owed. I then made a spreadsheet. I had a little cash book. So start small and start with one habit at a time. I focused on my finances and then I built out from there. But for you, it might be meal prepping. It might be getting more exercise. Don't try and do too many things at once. Start small and work on one habit at a time. The next thing I would say is be consistent. Being disciplined isn't about just kind of doing things when you want to do them. You've got to be consistent. You've got to show up every single day, even when you don't want to. There have been many days where I have been out all day working, I've come back and I've really not wanted to look at my finances spreadsheet, but I've made myself do it. I've made it a non-negotiable part of my routine. And one of the ways I do that is by showing up every single day and being consistent. The next thing I would say is reward yourself. Now, don't get carried away. I'm not saying you should go out and buy a brand new pair of shoes or a brand new handbag, as lovely as they are. But I think what's really important is for every milestone that you achieve, reward yourself in some way. Now, I didn't do this at first. I was just hell-bent on pay my debts off, pay my debts off. I never thought to reward myself along the way, but when I paid the final debt off, I actually did reward myself, and it was a really small reward. So on the morning that I paid the final debt off, I went to the company canteen, I treated myself to 2 hash browns and a fried egg and some hot chocolate. So make sure that you reward yourself and don't go for the big rewards. It can be something really small. You might take yourself out on a celebratory walk, or you might phone a friend or message someone, say, oh, look, I've achieved this or I've done this. Always make sure that you are rewarding yourself for what you're achieving, because that's really, really important, and it helps to incentivize you as well. Finally, I would say keep your why in mind. For me, it was about getting to a place where I didn't owe any more money to anyone, and I had alleviated myself of the stress that comes with debt. So I think it is really, really important when you are on this journey to keep your why in mind and even write it down. I am very, 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 very obsessed with writing things down. I have tons of notebooks. I don't even know how many. I've probably got well over 100 notebooks. But I think actually, writing it down, writing down my why, writing down what I actually owed, and actually writing down the day I became debt free, which I still look back at now, it really does do something for me. So I would say always make sure you keep that why in mind and always reiterate why you're doing this. Don't forget that. If you need to put post-it notes on notice boards in your house, or you need to just keep something in your phone, which is something that I do, please always keep your why in mind. It's really, really key in the process of building and developing discipline. So before I wrap this video, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that managing your finances and building sustainable habits is not easy, especially if you are struggling with debt. If you are struggling, please know that you're not alone. There are many organisations out there that offer free and confidential advice and support should you need it. I have listed some of those organisations in the description below this video. Another thing to mention is that what I've just said does not constitute as financial advice. I am not qualified to give financial advice, but as somebody who has been on the journey of being in debt myself and has used these organisations for advice, I would strongly recommend turning to them if you find yourself struggling financially. So that's a little bit about how discipline has helped me to build a sustainable life, and is also helping me keep on top of my personal finances. Now I'm throwing it out to you. I would love to hear from you. What's the one area of your life where you would like to build more discipline? Drop a comment below and let me know. If this video resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Together we can build lives full of purpose, full of style and sustainability. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, discipline is not about restriction, it's about freedom. Start small, stay consistent and watch how your life transforms. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye.